If you make a purchase from a vendor that you don't expect to do business with again, rather than creating a new vendor record and formal purchase order, you can instead create a one-time vendor invoice transaction and the associated payment transaction that is quicker and simpler to process. These transactions are determined in the Accounts Payable module, where you create a new invoice transaction from the plus button. Instead of using an existing vendor, you need to choose the one-time vendor option, which significantly changes the entry screen. In addition to the usual invoice information, you also include information about the payment, which is required for and combined into one-time vendor invoices. In the payment area, the bank account defaults from your company settings, and you can choose to print either a check or a remittance, depending on how you are paying this vendor. At the right is a place to enter the vendor's name and address, which could be important if you are printing a check for them. Some of this information defaults from vendor company settings, and of course can be changed as needed. Below the payment details is the invoice information, where the expense account value defaults from the company settings. You can include a purchase order number if desired, but you don't really need to set terms because full payment is already included in this transaction. Include a description in the memo field and enter the total amount paid including tax, where the tax will be automatically calculated based on company settings for vendor tax codes. If you use job costing, apply job information if necessary for the pre-tax expense amount by selecting a job and associated job account, which automatically uses the invoice amount. Multiple jobs can be added if required. When the transaction entry is complete, click the Post button to commit the amounts to accounting. If user security allows, you can also see ledger activity and even make changes such as applying the invoice across multiple GL expense accounts instead of just one. When you continue from this screen, if you have chosen to print or email a form, this is your opportunity to do so, including confirmation that the payment generated successfully. After posting, notice that on the vendor list that a new vendor record has been created for this one-time vendor, with the address and other default information, in case you want to do further business with them again. Until that time, you might want to set this vendor as inactive, or use filters or other methods to hide these vendors from lists. You can still look up accounts payable information regarding this invoice and payment if you show completed transactions. If they become a regular vendor, you probably will want to use the vendor code change function to modify the all-numeric vendor number to something more meaningful and standardized. Alternatively, if you don't want new vendor records created for one-time vendor invoices, you can instead create a single vendor record for each currency and use this vendor instead for invoices and payments. There is extra work to change the vendor name here before invoicing if you need that for printed or emailed forms. If you would like more information about Spire Accounting, access the link in the description below to our homepage. Read the online manual help for additional assistance. Watch more videos from this playlist, and subscribe to the Spire YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.